without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The one by one care products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebykaya.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One by One Kia. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today.
Yeah, you listen to the sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you're feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day, so you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? You need something to just ride to on the go. Or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Gotta fix my camera. Hi, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. It's February the 9th. Okay?
Already.
I'm just saying.
And just like that, it's February.
And just like that. All I can say, guys, time waits on no one.
No, ma'am.
No one.
No, ma'am.
And you really can't catch up with time, but you can at least try to keep up with time. Okay? And that was by TONIA. Let's gripe. Yes, can't catch up, but you sure can keep up with time. How's everyone doing this lovely evening? McKenna, your hair looks so beautiful.
Thank you.
Marcus, you look kind of a little rested. I mean, I'm just saying, you looking like, ooh-wee. What we got going on, y'all?
Oh, you said rested or unrested?
Oh, you unrested?
Yeah. I'm unrested.
You didn't get your 7 hours of sleep in?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Sir,
I
what
wish.
happened? What happened, sir? Please share.
Man, you know, your mind be going a million miles a minute, and I just got to get up and do something. So that's what I did.
You did something. Okay.
Yeah, I did something.
You did
I
something.
did something. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you know, we got to learn how to relax that mind because it will go 90 miles a minute.
What?
So it will keep thinking when you're trying to rest.
Yeah.
So you have to talk to your mind. Mind, listen, I'm trying to rest right now. So all these thoughts, can we hold out till 8 o'clock tomorrow?
Slow down.
Wake
How's
up.
everybody else doing though?
Man, it's good. We had some faux spring-like weather like yesterday and today. I was like, wait, it's almost nice. Let me go to the mailbox or something. Let me walk out the door.
Well, we hope it continues a little bit.
I mean, it's February, so, you know, we still have that last few or 2-3 cold fronts before Easter. You know how that is.
Yep.
It always gets cold one more time before Easter, and then usually spring comes after that. So we're optimistic, but we know how this weather does. We're not new to it. So you just enjoy the day. Somebody said, you have to live every day. And I was like, absolutely. Every day you have to live. I spoke to a friend earlier today briefly, and she was saying that she was trying to figure out how to, stop being afraid to leave her house. And I just reminded her, we have to live. Understand COVID is here. COVID is here for a while. It's been here for a long time, and it's going to be here. But we still have to find a way not to be a caged bird and still enjoy life, because we can't control everything. And if we live our lives constantly in fear, we're going to miss the living part of life. So I just encouraged her to do something small, mask up, don't touch your face, but go outside and enjoy life and come on back and then take a shower, and woosah. So hopefully she will do something this weekend. So I look forward to circling back with her And I just encouraging her to just take a baby step and get out there and do something.
That's pretty
And
cool.
that's what we have to do. We have to keep reminding others. Even I remember I spoke to a client earlier this week, and I said they were just saying they're starting to travel again, but it's just because of the pandemic. And I said, well, do what you do at home. If you do what you do at home and when you travel, it's the same thing. I said, I went to Vegas. I said, the only thing that I could have done differently when I went to Vegas is stay home. That's the only thing. I said, I had my hand sanitizer. I had my wipes. I had my gloves. I said, because dealing with the chips. Then there was times I'm just getting into this game, then there go the gloves. But that's okay. But I always remembered, okay, I got my chips in my purse. Guess what? When I went back to the room, took that lights off. So there are things that what we do at home, we can practice. I walk in my purse, and I've been carrying a small crossbody, right? And I promise you, the small little bottle of travel size Lysol. And it was so funny because I was in a car with a friend, and they asked me to go, they went to get some fast food. So when we got the fast food, they brought the fast food in, I pulled out my Lysol and I started spraying. They was like, oh, that's the first. And I started laughing. I was like, yeah, they just handed it to us. So I sprayed in a crossbody bag. And a crossbody bag don't hold much. So I'm saying the things that you think before you never did before, okay, you could do it now. So if you're worried about people touching it and it could spread that way, well, have these things on hand. But how about, guys, there was, I don't remember exactly what show or news station I heard it on. There are actually people out there trying to get the Omicron COVID because, study has it that once you get the Omicron, you're super immune to the COVID.
So
I'm just
the
saying.
thing about that is there are things that make sense to other people.
I'm just not going to try.
I mean, that's all I can say is that there are some things that make sense to other people. And apparently that must make sense to these other people out here because we're going to intentionally try to get the COVID, specifically the Omicron variant, so that we can be super immune.
Not the original.
No, the Omicron variant, so that we can be super immune.
So how do you choose which one you get, the Delta or the Omicron? Like how do
the
we...
original?
Or the original.
Yeah, yes. The strain 19. But I just know that there's got to be some science that they back this up with, right? There's got to be some research. Because it's clearly something that they fabricated. But then again, as I stated there are things that make sense to some people or other people.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that made sense to somebody. And then you know what they did? They told somebody else. And then that person said, yeah, that makes sense to me too. Right?
They probably saw the YouTube video. Oh, my bad. The
YT?
The YT.
We talked about them last week, Marcus. Don't get us in trouble again.
They went to the University of YT and got educated.
But really and truly, it's sad. But for the people who are taking it serious, you got to live a little bit. But the numbers are going down. Even one of the states, New York and California was those two states was not playing with this pandemic. Well, now the governor is about to let those counties do what they want to do if they want to drop it. So there's a lot of counties over there in the California area about to drop the mask altogether indoors. Listen, I know, we're not CNN. We not the other news. Y'all think this pandemic coming to an end?
I don't know if it's coming to it. I think it's forever going to be changed. I don't know, man. It's
I mean, but you think it's gonna like just like remember when they had the pandemic, like they had the no, not the pandemic, what they called it when
You mean like the swine flu?
when HIV and AIDS, remember what they called that at the time, the epidemic or the something.
The AIDS crisis or the AIDS epidemic, that virus.
That and then remember, like the different stuff that they had.
So I think
like we just fade is
that it will always be with us. I think eventually the hype may slow down a little bit because something else will replace it. But viruses are just something that happens in nature. And whether it's the AIDS virus or a hepatitis virus or a syphilis virus or a shingles virus or a flu virus or an influenza virus, there are always going to be viruses among us. This just happens to be trending and we talk about it because that's what we do now that everything is viral and virtual, viral, quote, viral, and virtual. It's something that people are making money off of. I mean, think about medications and the healthcare industry and the research. So I don't think it will go away. I think that eventually it will fade to gray and something else will be more of a hot topic than this COVID. But just like the flu never went away. Every year it's flu season. And the flu has been around since before we were here. And every year there's a reminder, take a flu shot. So I think every year there will be a reminder to take your flu shot. And if you're a certain age, you'll take a shingles shot. And then now it'll be this COVID booster shot. So I just think this will be in line with, other shots that we take, but I don't think it will ever go away. I just think that eventually it'll be a conversation just like the flu. It won't have as much hype around it, but I don't think it'll just disappear.
Point exactly. I'm with you 100%. It feels good to see that we may be coming to the direction of normalcy again, but at the same time, the things that we took for granted, we won't anymore. But after a while, we forget and go back to the regular. I won't because this pandemic has had a toll on me, but I keep fighting through.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the doctor in New York? They were actually practitioners. In 2 months, they made $1.5 million by selling the vaccine card, saying that people was vaccinated and putting it in the database so you can see it. Did you see it?
I didn't. I don't understand that.
MG, I mean, what?
I don't understand that.
Whenever there's a way to make money, whether it's a crisis, a pandemic, a tragedy, being in this capitalistic society that we live in, there's always an HUSTLER hustler out there that will figure out a way to hustle, hustle, hustle hard and make $1.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Did I get that right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to me. Like, not. I guess you're right, McKenna. Because I mean, you think about you think about Katrina when it hit. You out there trying to provide aid to people. People's like, oh, you just giving money out. Well, let me go ahead and take this money. Let me go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and do that.
And you remember people in New York and North Carolina was claiming the money for Katrina?
Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
You way in New York, ma'am, sir, ma'am. Don't even have relatives in New Orleans. You're not a Saints fan?
Right.
I'm just saying, listen, how the New Orleans said?
New Orleans. I don't know. New Orleans. But that's crazy though.
I ain't with the quick money. I ain't.
They got it.
They got it. Because, I mean, 2-3 years from now, somebody's going to do an audit, right? And you got this PPE loan. And it'll just be some random folks, because that's what happens. They'll randomly select a few folks that got this PPE money. And the IRS, they'll slow walk it down. They're like, hey.
Oh, yes. Exactly. So, guys, if you ain't got to do it, don't do it. Don't do it no matter how they say it's Free money ain't none free. The air ain't even free. It used to be. You know what I'm saying? All right, so listen, let's get to some of the good stuff. So, did you guys watch the movie Sunday night? Was it Sunday night or Saturday night on Lifetime? Hold on, let me get it.
Single black female.
Yes, I almost did that. You know, I be doing too much TikTok, right? Because I almost said, hold on, let me get my glasses. I do too much TikTok, y'all. Lord. But yes, single black female.
So I actually didn't watch it. I did read a few comments about it. There were people that said it was good and, they were happy to see it. Other people just said it was a little bit predictable and they knew what was going to happen, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. But those were some of the comments that I did read, that it was overall okay as a movie, but some people just said it was a little bit predictable and they knew what was going to happen. So.
Well, just like everyone say with Lifetime movie, they said it's always predictable. It's okay, especially for people who watch a lot of movies. Yes. However, I have to say, honey, you would not hear anybody talk about no wigs. You would not hear nobody talk about no wardrobe. Because when I tell you, some of these stylists I knew, they had our Nina Parker. I seen some INCs up in there. I mean, I saw some designers up in there, right? But the thing was, because it's a black movie, and you know how they go down hard on Tyler Perry with his actresses with their wig and even their wardrobe. This team, they did that. And for the ladies to be plus size women or representing, it was good for me. I was like, wow, yes, that's me every day right there. Yes. So it felt good to see me on the screen, per se, as far as a plus size woman. We can hair be laid, makeup be laid, dressing be laid, sexy. It was good for me. And the storyline, yeah, we see it all the time, but so what? It's good to see us, black women, plus size, in a leading role instead of being just a friend to the star. So hey, kudos, Lifetime, yes.
So it is exciting that beauty is being acknowledged in all shades, shapes, sizes, ethnicities, and I think that is something that will continue to encourage other people to step out there and own their path. Don't let. And it was interesting that you mentioned that, because I remember watching. It's Fantasia and I forget the other young lady's name who's going to play in The Color Purple. The Color Purple is getting a remix, and Fantasia is one of the actresses. She was just talking about some of the people that she kept her eye on. And the other young lady, and I forget her name, but both of them were saying, not Taraji, it's another lady that's playing, I'll have to pull it up. If any of our viewers know who it is, please send us a message. But they were in an interview and they were just saying that they had to work hard to accept themselves in their own bodies, because there's a lot of colorism, there's a lot of sexism, there's a lot of, you have to be a size 6 if you're going to make it in music or in Hollywood. And they were just sharing, their journey with, they had to love and accept on themselves and push through despite what that perception of what beauty and or talent looked like. So when you mentioned that, Tony, it just kind of reminded me of, that interview that I saw with those two young ladies. And so, we have that constant, I will say struggle, but there's that constant battle with, am I good enough? Am I beautiful? Based on all the different standards of what beauty is. And then once we get to that place within ourselves that say, I am beautiful just the way that I am, just the shade that I am. My lips are perfect. My hips are perfect. I am beautifully and wonderfully made in His image, and this is how He created me. And I'm going to be happy in this body, and I'm going to celebrate me, and I'm not going to let the majority perspective keep me from being happy with myself. And I think that was the message that they were both sharing, that, once we get to that place, then we just have to exude that confidence and go out there and motivate other people to accept us and say, hey, I can do this role. I can play in this part. I can sing this song. I can act on the stage. I can act in this movie. And we see that. We see that in lots of different projects that are happening because there's lots of shades. Even though there's still room for improvement, but there are many more opportunities today than there were 25 years ago. And Black History Month.
Well said, and that was a perfect movie to represent Black women this month. And so, Marcus, so just to give our viewers some heads up, Tom Brady officially is retiring from football.
Yeah. He retired. It was long overdue. Happy he did. It's tired of. Sometimes you just gotta let the young bucks go ahead and shine, man. You can't shine forever. So it was definitely time for him. Definitely time.
Yeah, I mean, he went there and he was able to help them get a ring. That's cool. I think I think it's time for him to. Sometimes we just have to know when to hang it up, not per se for whatever losing reason, but just in general. Sometimes that's why it's called retire.
Yeah.
So definitely.
But yeah, the bigger news in sports, of course, is still, buzzing about these coaches and hiring of Black coaches in the NFL. And it was interesting. Did we talk about this last week? I think we did, right?
We did.
And it was interesting because one of the coaches, a couple of people that with our skin tones and color, went on record and said, they were always nice to me. They never really treated me no kind of way. However, these are the same people that still ain't got a job. They've been interviewed 4 or 5 times, but they still ain't got a job. So they're in the same boat as the guy who's suing the NFL from the outs. They're on the outside looking in at a head coaching job. But saying, because the guy was like, yeah, this is not a sham for me. It's a sham, bro. You ain't hired. There are people who's on the same team you are on who are getting hired before you.
With less experience. Let's not forget that piece.
Less experience.
Let's just. I mean, since it's let's gripe. Let's just rap about that with less experience.
Less experience. Mm-hmm.
And then they'll be like, "Yo, MG, could you train so and so?"
Exactly.
What? You want me to train a young buck to be my boss and pay him, with a comma and some extra zeros?
Yeah. Can you be his coordinator?
I've never been for that. I've never been for that. But you can give me the job, but you want me to train someone this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that happened to me before. I was working at a job and I didn't get the position, so they hired somebody else. And then one of the directors said, they said, McKenna, can you train so-and-so? So I had to blink twice. You want me to train my supervisor how to do their job? Is that what you're asking me to do? I just want to be clear. Let's just say it out loud. And then they blinked twice like, So because I asked the question, because unless the question is actually asked, then people act oblivious. Mm-hmm. So I said, let me understand what you're asking me to do. You're asking me to train the person that you just hired to be my supervisor to do their job, a position that I applied for.
Did they respond though?
Yeah, they came back and gave me like an assistant title and handed me like a few more dollars.
Oh, okay. I thought they gave you a severance package.
No, they just gave me like an assistant director title and they gave me a couple more dollars to appease me in the moment. And then I was like, because I was about to because I'm one of those people that believes. Okay, so we'll talk about different types of personalities. So you have workers who feel like they have to work. I'm not that person. I believe that sometimes it's okay to step back and let things fall apart. You have those people that want to always fix and always put the pieces together. But what I've learned is that sometimes when something fails is when people will reorganize and look at all of the pieces and say, okay, why did this fail? And it's not until something falls apart that things change. But some people are very afraid to let things fail. You have to have a certain amount of fortitude and faith to be able to step back and let something fall apart and fail. Like, you're not the failure, the situation failed. The situation didn't work out the way that you designed. And you don't start out in that place. You have to grow to get to that place. So now that I have a couple of years under my belt, I'm in a place where I can sit back and let something fall apart and not feel the need to fix it. Because sometimes when things fail, that's when the growth happens. Other people can reflect and say, okay, I see my part in it. And if they can't, then there's usually a meeting, especially in business. People come back together. People want to analyze data and situations, and then they'll take a look and they'll come back with, okay, this is what we need to do different going forward. And although you may have had that suggestion 6 minutes ago, 15 years ago, 6 months ago, you can actually let somebody else let it be their idea. Like, okay, yeah, that's a good suggestion. Yeah, maybe we could try it this way. But sometimes in life, you have to let a situation fall apart. It's okay not to rescue every situation, because if you know who you are and you're grounded, the situation is always bigger than you. And it's not just about you, it's about that situation, whatever it is, a project, whether it's a family relationship, whether it's a family reunion, whatever it is, usually the situation is bigger than who you are. And sometimes it's okay to let it collapse and fall apart, because when that happens, somebody else will think about it. And then maybe the collaboration can happen, and then people will be willing to work together. But when you have that one person that's always trying to rescue everything and rescue everybody, the other people don't really get to experience what it looks like when things fall apart, own their piece, and then people dive back in and then create something else. And sometimes because of what's broken, when you come back together, it creates an opportunity for something greater to exist. So I don't know who that's for, but sometimes it's okay to let it fall down. It's a crisis, but it's not the end. It's a situation, but it's not the last thing that's going to define who you are. So I don't know who that's for, but that's for somebody.
Amen.
All right.
I'm just saying, and trust and believe. It was for me too. I caught it. MD, you got MG.
Can I be a little messy real quick?
Girl,
Go ahead.
let me get close to the
So somebody threw something in my inbox about this artist named Nelly.
Wait. Oh, you got? Can you DM me, please?
So MG is laughing because he must understand what had happened was.
I heard something on Instagram.
And I don't have an Instagram account.
Apologized about something coming out. Can you
So what had happened? We're whispering. So what had happened was, now so I'm going to report it the way I'm going to report it. So there was a video. This is rated R video of
R.
Okay, what's after R?
X.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, MG. This was a rated X video that was apparently leaked.
Sexually explicit is the correct name.
Thank you so much. There was a sexually explicit video that was accidentally uploaded, downloaded, attached to the account for the publics with an X to view. So I did watch the video, just if anybody wants to know. Yes, I did. But the question that I have is, because I was thinking to myself, how do you inadvertently upload a video? So I was just thinking, like, when you screenshot things or when you record things, you save them. And then when you have to you have to find it, and then you have to go to it, and then you have to click on it, and then you have to and then it goes. So how do you inadvertently upload this video? And then what they said was, when I read the little caption article, that this was an old video. So that means if it was an old video, that means there were other videos that were in front of this. So that means you had to scroll to this video and then click on it and upload the video. So if
He
anybody
probably was sending it to someone.
okay.
He probably was sending it to someone. Because, and I'll tell you why, because there's sometimes when I don't have my phone on speaker and I have it at my ears talking everything, you know, when pressing is all, and there are times I've actually deleted a whole album, photo album, didn't know till I was going to the album and it's gone. I'm devastated still to today because this happened like maybe recently. So that I can say, but then that also, he probably was sending it to one of his buddies. And so
I don't think this is the type of video you send to one of your homeboys.
why?
No, I don't think so.
McKenna, but you still wait, hold on one second, Marcus. I'm gonna let you get, but McKenna didn't, she should have been sending it to me now. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, it's explicit, so you know I didn't want to offend you by sending you something explicit because it's.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm over 18. All right, Marcus, go on.
I believe what happened was that if this is from IG, I don't know if I believe it is. It looked like it kind of was. But for what people are doing is, you know, you can change up your close friends, right? So that's pretty much how you send kind of stories. So what may have happened is that he thought he was sending these multiple to his close friends. You can change those up, switch those up. Maybe that's my only guess. Because it seemed like it was a lot of them. You know, when you have the videos, you know, back to back. Because I'm trying to figure out, like, bro, how you accidentally do this? You know what I mean?
So it was more than one video.
Well, like for IG, when you record and upload things to IG, it just goes from one video to the next because it's like a time limit. I forget how long it's supposed to be, but it just goes from like one to the next. You won't know it necessarily because it's just like one long video, but in actuality, it's like different posts, so to speak, different stories, so to speak. But it just seems like one long story, but it's different stories. So my only guess is that maybe he tried to send it to the girl in question, maybe through the stories and added her as a close friend, or I don't know, but I don't think you make that kind of mistake to send it to your stories unless you just had it open on your phone.
Yeah,
like trying to send something else. I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, I believe it was something that he was, you know, he sent before, or I don't think he did it on purpose.
So do you think he'll recover from this? Like this will just be just a little news and we'll just move on.
He's not like Janet Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe a Beyonce. Well, Beyonce, she probably would be foolish. Anyway, yeah. But listen, while we talking about
so the only piece that I will add is that he did issue an apology to the young lady and her family, which was appropriate because it's not about the explicit. Okay, it's a sexual act. You know, I wasn't super offended or anything, but thinking about it from if that was me, and then all of a sudden people are calling me, girl, is that you? And you was getting your work in. I mean, and I don't know. And I don't know how old this video is, but you know, we all have a previous life and a current life and hopefully a future life. So, you know, I can just imagine how
dang, I shared my drinks with her.
Girl, you was getting your work in, and then let's just say she's married or has a current boyfriend. Then okay, this is if you have a husband, now your husband is like angry. Not because you had a previous life, but because of other people blowing up his phone. Like, just imagine.
Yeah, because he has to see it now. Like, as a dude, we all imagine that our whoever we're with, we all imagine that they with some guy in some kind of way.
And done all kind of things. Yeah.
Done all kind of things. But to visually see it is different.
It's a different thing, yeah.
It's a different story. But I will say this to the people out there that have all the stuff in their phone. Please be careful of what you upload and send to all these social media sites. Be careful.
Okay, I hear. Thank you for that advice.
Okay. Tony, are you telling on yourself? I mean, it's none of our business, but we just asking out loud because it's just us. And, you know, it's just us.
Okay, I'll be careful.
Be careful about, you know. So you think she'll get a couple of coins because of this, MG? You think like
I want to know who she is. So she might. Somebody wants to know who she is.
Yeah.
Somebody probably wants to.
And
sit
if
down
she's
and have
not
an
married, honey, listen, man, who knows? She might
Right.
be getting a lot of DMs.
A lot of DMs, right?
she will get a lot of DMs because she was putting her work in? I mean, I'm just saying.
One more thing. Go ahead, Tony.
No, people just need to stop doing those stuff. Just stop doing this stuff because you get yourself in trouble. I mean, especially if at the time she was with somebody or, vice versa. Like, what's up? It's crazy to me.
The thing that got me were the comments, though.
Okay.
There were a lot of negative comments about the video in general. And yeah, it didn't
about her or about him or
both.
Oh, okay.
Both.
Okay.
People on that sideline had a lot to say about a lot. Everybody had a commentary.
Oh wow!
If it was me, I would do like this and this and this. You know what I mean?
Oh, so we're directing and producing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for him, the women really got on him really bad. So they were. Yeah. So it ain't a good look for him, but he'll recover because it don't matter. So
because whatever it is, I got you.
Since you have not sent, because I keep checking my phone.
I got you. Hold on, one moment.
A DM and I didn't get it.
One moment.
I'm not about to ask you.
1 moment.
Was he blessed by God?
See, listen, everybody's going to have their individual opinion about what is, I'm not going to go there.
Our viewers want to know. See, viewers, if I saw the video, I will tell you if he was blessed, if he snuck up in the line about 5 times, or I will tell you if he was doing something else, was not paying attention when God was
Hold up, Tony. What does that mean? If he snuck up in the line like 5 times, what does that mean? Break that down for me. I'm totally. I don't know what that means. You can do it off. You can do it later. You can do it off the air, but I don't know what that means. Let me know.
Okay, but even on that note, still staying on that little note right there, AJ Johnson. You guys remember AJ Johnson? She played in Baby Boy. She was Baby Boy mother.
Yeah, that's
right. And she has a show on, like a reality show, helping people on BET.
Just to go by Ayana, right?
I think she doing something like that, yes, but hers a little more.
Mm-hmm.
However, her birthday just passed. I'm not sure. I know it ain't 50 because she definitely ain't 50. But I think it was her 60th birthday or something. And she had a threesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But she had a threesome with 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, women were saying that she got trained. That street talk trained. But honey, her clap back, honey, first of all, she explained, I watched that interviewed her. So it's pretty much she was saying, I guess, out of the country, and she has a male friend. And she was just saying that they, it was like, this is my woman, but they were good friends. And it got, like intimately, like touching, feely, whatever. So apparently, from what I gathered from what she was saying, both of them were good friends, whatever. So however it led to. So she was saying that for people to say that she got trained, it wasn't even like that. She was like, choo, 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 whatever. That's some sarcastic stuff I would have did too. So when I listened to the interview, y'all, so I was like, I like that. And I understood where she was coming from. So I sat there and I thought about it. Y'all, look, McKenna, you got to see how I'm doing this. Now I got to do this, honey. I thought about it. I said, ooh. So I said, well. So now I'm trying to be the fly on the wall in that room, right? I said, so it was 2 of them. So she already saying nobody trained her, number one, right? So she that hood stuff, that little fifth grade stuff. So I said, oh, I could see her. I could see her now. She probably went over to, let's say, man B and man C over there. We was gonna get them there, A, B, and C. No, A, B. So she go over to man A, honey. I can see her now, teasing him, doing whatever she want to do, right? Then I could see her going to man B, doing whatever she want to do, right? And I was just sitting there imagining, and I was like,
that's a lot of women's fantasy.
That's not a threesome though. That is have it the way I want it.
YOLO. Do what you do, YOLO.
That's a lot of women's fantasy.
Yeah, it is.
But,
I'm just saying, for now that when I started thinking about it, I was like, cause I would never see myself doing something, that with you, cause you were like, for real, that's. But after when I started saying, hear her, and I thought, I said, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I did read a piece of the article, and she basically said there was no double dipping, meaning the two men weren't interacting with each other, and they were kind of separated. So,
exactly.
And so I was like, okay, and, she probably said that for the men's sake, which I get, but she just described the picture to make it, like you said, more visual, so you could visualize that it wasn't anything that was what somebody may consider dirty or perverted or perverse.
Exactly.
It was a consensual, spontaneous, non-planned adult experience that, had a few boundaries and a couple of limits, and everybody played by the rules and everybody had a good time. And it was what she did for her birthday. And so, hey, I have no gripes with that.
But if you think about it, that's what made me think about it. That's when I started to kind of like go into that daydreaming mode, like, oh, it kind of made like, yeah, I'll take that Burger King slogan any day. I have my way.
Having my way.
Okay.
Your choice of music in the background, and because she said it was a respectful experience. She, she did use some words that made it sound very adult. This wasn't, some app that you download and you're looking at these. I don't even know what it is, but what I'm talking about. Right. It wasn't that experience. Yeah, it wasn't porno. This was a grown adult experience, a consensual grown adult experience. And she was open and candid enough to share it with her viewers about what she did to celebrate her birthday. And probably what it served its purpose, because other people were like, wow, I've always thought about that. Because when you think of a threesome, typically you think of a man and two women. That's what you typically think of in a threesome experience. And so for her to share that I had a threesome, and yes, it was with two men, and no, they weren't on each other. That's not what that was. It was two adult men, and everybody respected that space. And she was able to be the person who received the primary pleasure because it was her birthday, right? And so it just made it more enticing, to people who, so you were able to daydream on that. You were like, wait, okay, so if a threesome can look like this, it doesn't have to be what I'm used to seeing on these apps or on this porn. It could actually be an experience where there's, two men, and they're not all up on each other, because this is not a homosexual encounter. This is just two men that are there to please me. And that's the primary purpose of this. They're not there to please each other, right? This is not a threesome where everybody's pleasing each other. This is a threesome where I'm the one that's being pleased by these two different men. That's a whole different conversation. Because this is not a three-way pleasurable experience. This is really, I'm the person that's being pleased by two other men. These two men are not pleasing each other, right? Did I get that right? These two men are not pleasing each other. I'm the one that's being pleased.
Exactly.
So that drew a whole different visual in my mind when I thought about that. I was like, she's the person that's the recipient of all of the pleasure. Because these two men are not pleasing each other. That's not what this is not the traditional threesome where, because in a traditional threesome, it's the man and the two women, and the two women please each other, and the one woman pleases them. Like that's the circle of the three. That wasn't this. That I'm the birthday girl. You here to please me? You tag out. You here to please me? You tag out. I'm the one. I might pleasure myself. I'm the pleasure. It's the pleasure principle, and I'm the primary pleasure recipient. And do you laugh? Did I get it right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's typically how they
Sound like you daydreamed it up on. Yeah.
No, I just thought about it out loud. It wasn't that I daydreamed about it. It's just that I thought about it out loud when you were talking about it. And it isn't a conversation that I've ever had that way. You know, like I've been approached. I think I shared this story. I was in New Orleans one time, and this man approached me saying his wife wanted me to join them. I was super flattered, but I said, well, thank you, I was like, because he came and he was talking to me and blah, blah, blah. And then after about, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, then he hit me with, my wife noticed you and she's over there. So then I looked over there and she wanted to know if he would join us later. I had to blink twice, maintain my composure and say, I'm flattered and I appreciate that, but no, thank you. But the way that you just presented it, Tonia, it allowed me to think about it in a different way that I have never thought about it. It's not a conversation that we have this way where it's about the woman being pleasured by two men and the two men are not pleasuring themselves. They're not, that's a different conversation than I've ever had. So.
And like I said, I daydreamed.
and
Kim wanted to know who, what, and what famous person. A.J. Johnson from Baby Boy mother, who played Baby Boy mother with what's his name?
Tyrese. Mm-hmm.
So
and played Shireen in House Party.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's a good actress too.
MJ, so what were you gonna add?
No, I'm just saying, like, most of the time around this whole thing is that normally when it's presented or talked about, it's always a negative connotation. Well, somebody ain't running the train or whatever else. But when you actually kind of sit down and explain it to someone, and most of the women kind of get it, hey, exactly like you guys did, actually think about what you're actually doing. Because I always have a rule, like if it's three or more, then maybe you consider it a train, but just a threesome is a threesome, whatever way you do it. A threesome is a threesome, whether it's two guys, two girls, it doesn't matter. A threesome is a threesome. You wouldn't call that. If it was two women, you wouldn't call that they ran a train on that guy. You wouldn't say that. You know what I mean? It's just an experience that they had. But a lot of people, when you first hear about it, men too sometimes, oh, that's a train. But you have to actually sit down and think about kind of what's going on in that scenario, as opposed to like, I ain't with people just have to talk about it. Like we having a conversation about it. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times people don't really have those conversations because they always, they're blinded to kind of what's actually going on in scenarios and situations.
Exactly. That's why I said it. The listeners, I have family and friends listening. They probably sitting up there, ain't no Tonia, I'm grown. I'm grown, honey. I say things that some people won't say. And I do things that some people may won't do. And that right there. But I'm going to be 16. Oh, that's a while away. Let me go on and get this one out the way first.
But again, I appreciate her bringing that to the conversation because it is a conversation that could be had. And even for men, because, if you say, okay, if the man approaches you and says, okay, are you open to having a threesome? And then you say, yes, but with another man. Then they might be like, well, no, a threesome is with two women. Well, why does it have to be with two women? Why can't it be me and you two men? And then you can grow in the conversation. Well, if a threesome is two men, then I don't want to be with another man, but nobody said you had to be. Because if it's a threesome, it just means that somebody's being pleased. It doesn't mean that all three of us are. So, I think it just created opportunities for that conversation to be had in a different way, where traditionally we may not have had that conversation that way. And then it will be interesting to see for those women who are in relationships who have had the traditional threesomes with their male boyfriend and another female, to ask them, okay, so would you be okay with doing it this way? And if not, then why? If it's okay for me to do it this way, then why wouldn't it be okay for us to do it this way where it's two men? And no, you don't have to touch the other man. But
That's the part that people focus on. Especially when you mention it, they be like, "Oh, two dudes, what they doing? They doing?" Nah, it's not like that. That's why you have, like
Exactly.
conversations.
yeah, yeah. And we talk about that all the time, how it's important for us to have more dialogue. Like men and women really need to have more dialogue and really have these types of conversations. We make a lot of presumptions and plenty of assumptions, but we could do a better job of just sitting down and saying, well, let's just talk about it. Why does it have to be this way? Let's talk about all the other ways that it could be and what the level of comfort is. And then are you being selfish by only seeing it this way? Or are you open to even just exploring and having a conversation about thinking about something different? And I know that we're talking about sex right now, but this really applies to all different types of things, whether it's food, whether it's, I don't know, participating in some type of event or experience. But I think that it just lends us to remember that there are all different types of views and points of view and experiences. And sometimes we say no just because of our lack of exposure and our unwillingness to stretch our level of comfort to some things. Like we really shy away from being uncomfortable. But sometimes when we're uncomfortable, that's when we actually grow. And we can learn our character because you can be put in, like even with that example with the man. And when I was in New Orleans, he came, he approached me. We were just, we were standing on Bourbon Street, just kiki and cackling. And then after a few minutes of conversation is when he introduced the idea that his wife was across the street. And she was the one that actually saw me and wanted him to approach me to see if I would be willing to, to hang out with them later, air quotes. And so in that moment, I froze, but I thought about it and I appreciated the invite. I declined it, but I wasn't offended by it. Like, he did all the things he was supposed to do. He listened to his wife. He approached me. We had a conversation. And then somewhere in the conversation, he eased it in, and then I had the opportunity to make a decision. And I thought about it and I said, I'm real flattered, but no, thank you. And he was like, okay, well, you got, you be safe out here. You have a good weekend. Like there was nothing. So I think that sometimes we just have to, instead of shutting it down, just be approachable. Think about it. If it's not for you, it's okay, but think about it. Have a conversation about it. Be at least open to the format. Because you'd be surprised how you stretch and grow, when you're open to different things, whether it's trying some, I don't know, Thai food versus you only eat Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's. Like, come on now. There's all kinds of foods out here. Try something new.
That took a good level of maturity to happen, though. A lot of people probably would have been offended. How dare you come up to me and ask me and do all this other stuff? Just say no. You're gonna keep it moving.
Right. But that's what we're supposed to do, MG. We're supposed to grow, evolve, and become mature. We don't, like I said, I didn't start out mature. I had to become, this was a journey that happened along the way through having these types of conversations by, even the things that you watch on television and you read in the media, like you're influenced constantly by things that are happening. And if you don't use those things to evolve and become mature, then what's the purpose of the process? Right? Like you're going to be miserable because you never matured. You're going to be easily offended. And get mad about every little thing and, recreate petty habits because you haven't grown and matured. I'll use the example of if I ask you, do you like butter pecan ice cream? And you say no, and I get mad at you. Why am I mad? I just asked you, do you like butter pecan? And you said no. I love butter pecan. But you don't have to like it. So, just like, and I just use that as a little example. We bait you with the question. And then when you give us the answer, we're not mature enough to handle the answer. And I think as people, as adults, we have to mature from that place of now I'm mad at MG because he don't even like butter pecan. And I just bought a whole, 5 gallons of it. Well, you might have wanted to ask him before you bought. You could have just bought you some Haagen-Dazs size, right? Just enough for you. But now you got this 5-gallon bucket of butter pecan, and this man don't even like it. You should have asked him that first. Otherwise, you could just go get you the small Haagen-Dazs size, an individual serve, and ask him what he likes, and buy 3 for $5 and keep him moving. But we get upset about these kind of things.
I can't even piggyback on it. You said it.
You know,
He said it. You heard it here. Oh, that's right. Okay, said it, but it's the truth. People can't have those adults. Like it's some conversation is because they're afraid of what another person might think, and then worried about other people in other words. And, what?
or they can't handle it themselves. You know, it's even worse when you yourself can't handle it. You know, like I asked MG, does he like butter pecan? And I can't handle the fact that he doesn't like it. He just legitimately, and you don't need a reason not to like it. You just don't like it. But I can't handle the no. And now I'm all out of sorts because I asked the question, I got the answer. It wasn't the answer that I wanted, and I can't handle that. So we have to mature from that place where everybody's not going to like what you like. I love Thai food. Everybody's not going to like Thai food. So if I say, MG, do you like Thai food? No. All right, well, do you like Jamaican? Yes. All right, well, we can do Jamaican because we both like Jamaican.
Brown stew.
Extra gravy.
And he gonna tell you brown stew
with extra gravy.
Facts.
So listeners, I'm encouraging you not to be a better version of yourself. We all say that. Be a more mature version of yourself. You know, really work on being more mature because that's what this world really needs. We need adults out here. I mean, if we think about what's happening in this world from race relations to politics to, you know, what's happening in our churches, we really need more mature individuals. So just be a little bit more mature. We're going to have differences. We're not going to like the same things, but just be a more mature. We still have an ex-president that is refusing to turn over documents and has torn up documents. And I mean, just all kinds of things that are not mature. You know, and if you don't know, there were people around you that said you can't destroy anything because everything in here belongs to the US government. It's not yours to destroy, but you did it anyways because of your lack of maturity. So my argument is, as you matriculate through the rest of Black History Month, and we'll come back next week with some facts because we're out of time, work on this week being a more mature version of yourself and see if you have fewer gripes because you're taking the higher road and you're being more mature. And that goes for me too. I'm going to work on that myself. Accept the no and let the rest go. Let the church say,
Amen.
I don't know how it's 7:59. We didn't even do any birthday shout outs.
Again, mine is blanketed because I know too many Aquarius.
Oh, you did.
Happy birthday to all the Aquariuses out there.
Just happy birthday to all the Aquariuses.
Right, baby.
Driving home and you feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day. So you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night.
Good night, everybody.
In the powerhouse. Wednesdays,
I'm telling you.
you need to check them out. I promise.
Xfinity and me, we don't have a problem. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Thank you for
everybody.
tuning in.
Good night.
See you
Thank
next
you,
week.
everybody.
Have a
See you
good
next
night.
week.
You're listening to the sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you feeling kinda tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day. So you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? You need something to
You're
just
in
ride,
tune
you
to
wanna
the
go.
Powerhouse Radio,
Or you might be home
linking
so
the
long.
world to the
You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. 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 Let's gripe.
Exactamente. Ya está.